Hi guys, I'm Anita and I'm back with another video. I'm a little late with my weekly wrap up because I had a really busy weekend with not a lot of time to actually sit down and read and do anything else than so I am today, if you could tell, I am completely knackered. I feel like I have the worst kind of hangover and I haven't had any alcohol all weekend, so I don't know if that tells you something about how busy my weekend has been and how little I've had to recharge and just be by myself. And being an introvert, that's a really difficult challenge. First up, I spent Friday after work with my family and we had a dinner, we had a lot of things. Saturday, I spent all of Saturday in Aarhus, which is it's Denmark's second biggest city, and my brother lives there, so we went to visit him. We had to go to a museum which I've actually never been to, even though I've lived there for a couple of years. I never got around to actually visiting ours, which is an art museum, and it was really interesting. It is like I think it's 8 floors long, high, and the top is like this, what we call a rainbow walk. It's like this giant glass rainbow that you can walk in and you can have panorama view of the whole city, and that's really interesting. We started out with that panorama view, then we took like all of this levels down, and the first thing we watched were definitely the best. It was called Human Nature. It was just a lot of paintings back from the 1800s where you could tell all of the emotions and what was going on, how it was back then. It just captured it really well. I'm much more to that sort of art style than those more abstract sort of art, where I can see that it's probably pretty, but it doesn't say anything to me. It's not like something I'll stay and watch and see if I can spot details and stuff. That doesn't say anything to me. But yeah, that was a fun experience, and we had just walked around in the city, and I think we went home from there at around 7 p.m. or something, 8 p.m. and I was home at about 9, because that's like an hour long drive or something. And then all of yesterday I spent moving with my sister. It took like almost all day, because it always takes longer than you expect. And then me and my brother went to see the football match at the big screen, which started at 8, and it went into extra time and penalties, and I was home at around 11:15 or something. And yeah, and I think all of those things combined have just got me completely knackered. I haven't been finishing as many things that I wanted to this week, but I have finished 1 book and 2 novellas, short story things, and I am working on some books for the Untitled. The first thing that I finished this week was The Long Walk by Richard Bachman, or Stephen King. This is his second book that was written under the pen name, and basically it's just about this enormously long walk that they have to go on, and they have to keep on walking. They cannot slow down or things will happen. There's a lot of people watching, like military men and stuff, or whatever you want to call it, who are making sure that everyone are always on the move, or they will be killed, or they are dying for other causes because they get an illness or something. And it's just insane what happens to all of these people on this walk. And I don't understand how Stephen King can write about a really long walk and make it so interesting. I mean, there's a whole lot of things happening except the walk, and you know, all of the characters just make it really interesting. So instead of, before I've been talking about all of my reasons for the different ratings in the different categories, I'm just going to mention the ratings now and my overall score, because I think that it takes too much time, and then my individual reviews would be where I go more in depth with all of the different things and the factors and stuff. But I ended up really enjoying it. I think that Stephen King did a really good job. It was a lot better than the first Richard Bachman that I read, and the audio was pretty good. I listened to it as an audio, and it was very of the audio narrations of Stephen King's I've read so far, it's definitely one of the best. I think The Shining was really good as well. But yeah, the scoring breakdown is as follows. Characters get an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed the characters. The atmosphere get a 9 because I think that the creepiness, and it was really engaging all of the time, but it was so creepy with all of the things that went around with alongside the walk and how people changed and what happened to them when they were on this walk. It was just really gripping, and so I gave it 9. The writing gets an 8 because Stephen King just writes really excellently, and yeah, a lot better than the first one. I just first Richard Bachman novel, and I loved it. I really enjoyed it. Plot gets a 9 out of 10 because, as I said, I don't know how Stephen King can write a book about a long walk and make it so interesting. I don't understand it, but the plot really works and it's amazing. The interest, I wanted to get back to reading this all the time, so I gave it an 8 out of 10. The logic gets an 8 out of 10. It just really worked. And overall enjoyment, I gave an 8 out of 10. So it was really, really great book for me. The final rating score was 8.28, and this equals to 4 out of 5 stars. So it's not my favorite Stephen King book. The Shining still has that for a bit, but it's definitely up there. I think that it was just as good as, I feel like it was just as good as Salem's Lot for me. Salem's Lot was a really good book to me as well, and it's definitely like in my top 3. I maybe even in my top 2, and Salem's Lot was just under The Long Walk. It's just really good. I really enjoyed it. The next things that I read was things that I read because I just wanted to get more things in for the weekend. And so I looked at my Kindle, what was short, and these 2 books were only 100 pages, and I knew that going into them that I probably would not enjoy them because the type of books was something I might have enjoyed 5-6 years ago, but I definitely don't do that now. But yeah, let's get into it. The first one I read was The Hunter by J.D. Horn, which is the first one in a serial thing called, is it called Orion the Hunter or something? Orion books? I don't remember. And just it's just a typical contemporary romance erotica thing where this girl just uses a lot of time watching her friend's boyfriend's band play, and she's like a groupie and has all of the things, and then she has to start a new job and she meets this man, and yeah, things goes from there. This mysterious millionaire man. So yeah, the characters get 6 out of 10. They were not as bad as I thought it would be when I went into it originally. I had really low hopes for that because usually I just hate them, but I actually thought both of them had some pretty good qualities of what I read so far. The atmosphere got a 5 out of 10. The writing got a 5 out of 10. The plot was nothing new, so I got 4 out of 10. The interest, I found myself skimming a couple of times, so it got a 4 out of 10. The logic gets a 5 out of 10, and the overall enjoyment gets a 5 out of 10. So it gives an overall score of 4.85, and it equals to 3 stars. So it was not as bad as I expected it to be, but it was definitely not something that I will read on in. So then I read The Start of Us by Lauren Blakely, which is a prequel novel to a series. I got this as a Kindle freebie like long ago, and I remember reading something else by Lauren Blakely, so I knew it going to it what sort of book it would be. At the time when I got this, I was really into Lauren Blakely, so yeah. Anyway, let's get into the breakdown. This is actually about a girl who goes into a tattooist and to get her first tattoo, and she falls in love with the tattooist, and that's it. The characters get 3 out of 10. The atmosphere gets a 4 out of 10. The writing gets a 5 out of 10. It was okay, it was not the worst. I had sort of mediocre. The plot gets a 3 out of 10. Just very insta-lovey. It's too yeah, I couldn't get by that. The interest was a 2. I skimmed a lot of it. And the logic, I didn't get it, so 3 stars, and the overall enjoyment get 2 out of 10. So this get an overall scoring rating score of 3.14, which equals to 2 stars. So yeah, not the best reading week for me, but at least I managed to get through some things, and none of these 2 novellas actually works for my bingo thing. So yeah. Other things that I have worked on this week, I'm very close to finishing a Bollywood affair. I think I have 45 minutes or something left, so I'll try and finish that today. When I do things, I would like to listen to that, and I would also like to finish Djævlens Lærling, which I have made a little bit of progress in. I've only read another 40 pages or something. I think I was on page 70 when I started this week, and now I'm on page 112. This is a really decent book, and I'm actually listening to the audio, but I like being able to see where I am in the story, so every time I finish it, I just put the bookmark in, and it's actually Kenneth Bøgh who actually narrates the book as well, and he does a pretty fine job in doing that. So hopefully I'll finish that over this week as well, so I don't have to think about this book either. And then I am working on my tome table TBRs, and I still have to read today's pages, but otherwise I am caught up with what I had to read for my buddy read with Michael, which is of Malice by Gwynne. This is the only thing that I've managed to read almost all week, except I've read a couple of chapters in another book, which I'll talk about just in a minute. Malice is it sort of reminds me a little bit of Game of Thrones with the setup, because it has so many different point of views you have to follow. With every chapter it's a new point of view, and so you see a lot of different places, but the point of views are slowly coming together. Even though I'm still a little bit confused, they're slowly coming together, and you're slowly finding out more about the magic systems. There's something with elementals that I find really interesting, and also yeah, Corbin is really interesting character. He's like the one we follow the most, and then there's the one called Malice that I really like as well. And I'm very interested to see where this will go, because there's definitely things that happened already that could become pretty crazy when time goes. But as you can see, I have about 40 pages to read every day, and I will finish this by the end of tome table, so that's what I'm hoping for. I just remove the tab whenever I've gotten to where I'm supposed to go, and yeah, definitely recommend this so far. Another tome table read that I've been working a little bit on is A Discovery of Witches, which is my other buddy read that I'm doing with Beckie from Beck's books. This book I am on page 62. So I read the first 6 chapters, and things are definitely starting to happen. I read a little bit in the car to my brother's house, but that's the only thing that I've read so far. I only read like 17 pages. But I hope that I will catch up with what I wanted to read over the next coming days, because I have this next week off, which is really nice. Otherwise, we'll see what happens over the week. I hope that I will get a good headway into Children of Blood and Bone, and possibly another tome, but we'll see how it all goes. I am happy that my weekly wrap up is only 15 minutes long in the actual rough footage, so that bodes well for the future. Because I think that I've spent a little too much time on every book in the past couple of videos. Anyway, let me know in the comments down below what you have been reading over the past week. If there are any books that you would like to recommend to me. Have you read any of the books that I've been reading, and what did you think of them? Definitely let me know about that. And also let me know if you're doing tome table and how well you've been doing with that. I haven't had a lot of reading time, so I've only read the 135 pages over the past couple of days because I've been so busy, but I hope that I will definitely get a lot of reading done over the next week. Yeah. So if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye!